I see AI as a bridge between the business to the production. Everything like the requirements come from the business side of the business. And they're like asking, hey, I need you to do something. And then they go to the IT go to developers, and then it's like a process. Now you can say like, this is what I need. Type to the chat. Boom. It got something ready.
Welcome to the Talking AI podcast, where we talk AI with both experts in the field and early adopters. I'm your host, Matt Paige, and we're here to demystify AI for you so you can get some value from it. Let's talk some AI. Most AI automation tools give you seemingly infinite power and at the same time, zero guidance. You land in Zapier, Make, N8N, name your tool. You start at this blank canvas and think, now what? But with generative AI, we're entering this new phase where automation can be dynamic, conversational, even intuitive in a sense. And today I'm joined by Avishai and Benny, co-founders of Noca AI. They're building something really cool at the intersection of automation and AI coding, which is gotten this infamous name, infamous or cool, depending on your take, vibe coding, essentially stating what you want in natural language, and you kind of let AI do the rest. We're talking about what's broken with automation today, how to fix the blank canvas problem, and why the future of building might feel more like a conversation than an endless coding and configuration session. Plus, we got a couple cool live demos we're going to get into. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Matt. Happy to join.
This is going to be good. And you two are building Noca AI, which we'll get into some short demos later. But why do you think we're seeing such a surge at the intersection of automation with Gen AI hitting the scene? Because automation's been around for a while, right? You've had tools like Zapier and things like that, but it feels different ever since like AI, generative AI has hit the scene in this.
Yeah, and if we go back, I'd say 5 or 7 years, then came the good no-code tools, your Make and tools. You mentioned them, but you'd still need to have some technical or a lot of technical knowledge of how to build the automations. Gen AI bridges a lot of this gap. You can just speak to the system and the system will build the integration and the automation for you.
Yeah, and I've seen people doing this where they'll it's like they screenshot an automation and then they've seen from somebody else, like an N8N or whatever, and they're like, hey, AI, build this for me. And it can do it. So it's like the two sides of it in my mind. There's the one you mentioned where it can help you in the building process, but it can also be used in the actual workflow. And that's the big thing in my mind.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about going from deterministic to probabilistic and then what that unlocks, because you don't have to define every edge case of every workflow, which can be painful and limiting in a sense. And I think that's been the big gap of why automation has not gone as far up until this point as it has. And now it's exploding in a sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd be curious, Benny, your take on that, like the problem nature and things like that.
But basically I see AI as a bridge between the business to the production. Like usually like everything like the requirements come from the business side of the business, and they're like asking, hey, I need you to do something. And then they go to the IT go to developers, and then it's like a process. Now you can say like a business guy say, okay, this is what I need. Type to the chat. Boom. It got something ready.
Yeah.
This is number one. Number two, like if something is failing in the process or something is maybe not built correctly, the AI can say, look, you're trying to create an account in Salesforce, but there is a mandatory field which you forgot. Just like a simple example. You want me to help you fill it in? Oh, good. So it needs to be like a guy. I think the main thing with AI is to shorten the delivery quite a lot. You don't need a specialist as much as it was like before.
And there's this element to, Avishai, you're hitting on the democratization element, because now it's not just the engineers that can build things.
Exactly.
It's anybody. And I feel like this is the most polarizing thing, because some people think that's like the best thing since sliced bread. And then you have folks on the other side that are like, oh my God, there's AI slop everywhere. This is horrible. It's going to lead to the downfall of everything. But Avishai, what do you think? Do you think it's a good thing, bad thing, somewhere in between? What's your take on the democratization?
I think it's an excellent thing, but it's no excuse to be sloppy. And you can use AI to build automation, and you should, but you also need to review the work that's being done. One of the things we also build AI agents. We can touch on that also later. But one of the things we strongly believe in is the importance of having human in the loop. Whenever you're using AI agent to take action, there are certain points where you should introduce human in the loop, a person, review the data, make sure it's what you want. Don't just let it fly and hope for the best, because AI is excellent, but you need to use it smartly and cautiously. And in,
there's almost this, you hit it right on the head. There's like this approach people take where it's almost like lazy AI, where they're like, their prompts consist of fix this. Why do you suck at your job? It's like, you got to give the context, the detail. And that's the part that I think a lot of non-developers, they struggle with, because a lot of them don't understand, how databases work, how systems work. There's a system thinking approach to it. And I would argue that it's an easier skill to learn than people realize, because you don't have to get down to the syntax level of things. Like just having a basic understanding of how your database is structured. And there's great tools for this. I'm sure Noca has some stuff in there too, but like Supabase, where you can visualize your database, that's hugely impactful. And you just having a screenshot of that and adding that context to your conversation is powerful. And then I don't know if y'all have done some of this, but like when I'm like vibe coding with something, if I run into a bug, sometimes I'll pull in a different tool. If I'm in Lovable, I may go ask ChatGPT or use Codex or Claude Code and say, hey, what's your take on this? And they'll take it back and say, hey, this is what ChatGPT thought. And they'll be like, ChatGPT is exactly right. So it's, oh my God, I got like these multiple like AI engineers, in a sense, working on this problem for me.
I think I completely agree with the approach. And I think we need to have somewhat different systems than we have had in the past for going live in production with AI automations. So I'd like to give you an example of a customer of ours who wanted to automate a process where they process 10,000 invoices per month. So the process was that they would upload the invoice, someone would type the information, a second person would check the information, look at each invoice, and then move it, approve it for payment. Completely manual, essentially. Yeah, all humans. And then they introduced Noca. They started using our platform for document processing. And essentially the second human would check nine items. So it's the date of the invoice, amount of the invoice, who's the customer, who's the supplier, 9 items. And this was the first big process, like core process they introduced AI to. And the way they went live, I think, is very smart. So the first thing they did was build the process. And then they spent about a month checking every invoice and checking whether they approved the invoice, and the AI approved the invoice, then it was a good outcome. And if they approved the invoice and the AI didn't, each like false positive and false negatives, they checked and they looked into. And during that month, they made iterations to the process to make sure the AI gets it right. And then they went live when they felt comfortable with the answer that they were getting from the AI. But even then, they didn't take their hands off the process. They moved to checking the AI every 5 invoices, every 10 invoices, every 50 invoices. You need to gain this confidence before you can let go completely.
Yeah, I think that's a critical point. There's still these first principle things around testing and QA, and whether it's a human or AI doing it. It's important to do that before you just push something out into the wild. Like that heuristic is still true in a sense. But you hit on something though. I think that's a big gap. When people look to automate a process, I'd be curious y'all's thoughts, but I feel like a lot of times people jump to the tool too quickly.
Yeah.
What is the approach to automating a process? Let's pretend like I want to automate something in my business. Where do I even start? How do I identify what to automate?
You should start with manual approach. Do it manually. Try like few different options. And then you can go to an AI tool and ask, like, this is what I'm doing. Like, give me a feedback. Maybe it will find like a better idea. And then you can try and do like A/B testing. Maybe you should do multiple approaches, see what's working better. And then like slowly make it work like fully automated.
Yeah, I like that. So essentially in the process, you're talking to AI to see where opportunities there are. I think that's half the battle too, is people don't really understand what they do on a daily basis. And it's like shocking as that may seem, but like we just we work
Yeah.
and we're like little mini robots, right? But if you take the time to actually document, just somebody, I think it may have even been Alex Hermosi or somebody, but they said take a week and just document every 15 minutes, what did you do? And then the manual version of that is, okay, let me look through all my notes and see what patterns there are. What you just said, though, Benny, I'm thinking just shoot that stuff into ChatGPT and say, hey, where are the patterns? What should I automate? Like, I think that's a good starting point as well, because you got to identify what's right for automation.
I think there's another point worth mentioning is we're seeing a lot of AI agencies, a lot of and automation agencies, and sometimes it helps having someone from the outside look at the process with the people who are actually doing it. Because sometimes the business people will introduce the process, discuss what they're doing, and then you can ask them, why aren't you doing this differently? And they'll have a short discussion and understand that there's a better way to do this. So I think people advising companies and agencies of automation and AI agencies have a big part in making these processes better.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just having that outside perspective, because you're not jaded by how you do things today. You're not protective of your current workflows and processes in a sense, because people will get protective of it because it's their job in a sense.
With the data privacy, people doesn't know sometimes how to use it properly, and they can like share or expose data. Sometimes, for example, maybe you want to run your process on a Bedrock, like AWS dedicated service. Sometimes you want to do it like publicly. There's like a lot of things that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, and if you're just building willy-nilly, that's another thing. On the democratization side, it's great, but then a lot of times people are building things and they don't realize that, oh man, I got some very sensitive stuff that's very easily accessible, and I have no idea of that too. And there's the other automation side I see. I'm curious if y'all see this. Sometimes people automate things that maybe don't need to be automated, or maybe the automation actually takes longer than just doing the thing. I've seen that before too, where it's look at this cool thing I've done, and I'm like, it's actually more efficient sometimes just to do the thing, or like what value is it adding? I think that's the other component too, is make sure the automation that you're doing has some type of value in automating the workflow.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think when you in many automation, many customers come to us and they don't know where to start. They've seen the demo, they know they want to introduce automation, but they don't know what to build first. And we like to offer them, look at your processes, find the pain, find something that is a relatively simple process, but it happens many times. And then we can get a quick win. Once an organization understands they can, in an hour or two, automate a process that takes them a few hours a day, and they can automate it once in a few hours and get rid of that process. I think those are the best place to start when you want to introduce automation into your business.
Yeah, that's the flip side of it too. Like small win stack, I guess, in a sense too. If you're automating things to save you 30 minutes here, an hour there, that adds up over time across the organization. So there's still value there. So I'm curious, I got one more question for you. Then I want to jump into some of these demos and actually get a look at Noca. But I feel like there's going to be this shift that happens around UX and UI, because everything to date has been built for humans.
Yeah.
But as AI is now in the mix, like what happens to UX principles, UI? Do we need all of these interfaces that we have today that are very tailored for us as humans, being the conductor in a sense of clicking buttons and doing all these things? Or is it something completely different? Like, where do you see that shifting to? And is there a future where we just, I don't know, I know this may be a little extreme, but UI just disappears completely and you're interacting with AI in a sense?
Okay. I don't think UI will disappear like completely. Maybe like 20, 25 years. I don't think now, but I think like most of it would be like a chat. So you will ask questions, and then the AI will also pop like insights for you. Say, hey, I see something. Based on your previous question, based on your previous interaction, I understand that this is what you need to do. At the end of the day, you will need reporting. You will need like charts. you need to sign document, you will need like even to fill some forms or like other like information that need to be structured in a way. You cannot just do like everything in a free chat because then you can lose some of the data. But
Yeah.
for sure, it's going to
But I guess
reduce the UI
AI,
UX a lot.
yeah, but I guess AI in a sense could be the one filling out some of those forms and things like that to where the user may not need it. But then again, like,
But then you need to
I'm
sign
still
them
going to want to watch.
and you want to see it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So the human in the loop aspect. And I'm still going to want to watch YouTube videos. So there's still some value for screens in the
Yeah.
future, unless that just starts beaming into our head at some point down the road. Avishai, any perspective there before we jump into the
Yes, sure.
demo?
I think things are changing quickly, very rapidly in the last 2 years, and more so in the last year.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's accelerating. And what we are seeing currently is not that people don't want UI, don't need UI. They're looking for good UI and UX to introduce AI into their processes. Requests we see often is I'm working in Salesforce and I'm having trouble reaching the data. I would like to introduce a tool that could help me reach the data. So Salesforce came out with a tool. I believe most of the big platforms will have their own tool, but users are looking for a chat-like approach or feel in order to access different systems. And so I think the question currently is not, will we need a UI for humans in the future? I think it's what sort of UI we need to offer humans in the present.
Yeah. And then also for agents as well, what is tailored for them in a sense. That's good. All right, Avishai, let's jump into some demos here. What do you got for us? And feel free to do any kind of setup and context for Noca. And because I think the way I understand it is you're this blending between your automation tools and your vibe coding and bringing this like nuance together in a sense.
I think there are two parts of the systems. I'll show them both in the demo. We come from the integration space that has been working in integration for the last 30 years. And he's a domain expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm much younger than
He started when he was 5. He's now 35. 30 years.
Yeah.
He was
25.
boy genius.
25
years. And but we come from the integration space, and we have a somewhat different approach or an additional approach to vibe coding. We'll showcase that in a minute. And I agree with the blend from between like enterprise automation tools and vibe coding tools. Okay. So let's see something, a few things. And I'll share my screen.
Awesome.
Can you see my?
Yes, we have. Yep, we got Noca. It looks like Noca now.
Okay.
And for those that are listening, we'll be very descriptive and talk through this. If you want to check this out, go pop over to YouTube and you can see this thing live and in action.
Yeah, for sure. So Noca has two main sections: the vibe coding or web app builder, and the flow builder. So I'll start with the web app, the vibe coding space. And since it takes a few minutes to run, so I'll show you what I'm doing in the vibe coding. We'll go do some automation, like prompt-based automation, and then we'll come back to see the outcome of what we built.
Flip back and forth. And for those listening, what we got right now is a very similar kind of screen people are used to. It's this chat box like you'd have with ChatGPT or a Lovable or something like that to set the stage. So this becomes your entry point into building something in Noca.
Exactly.
In Monday, like the task management tool, the popular task.
But it can be any website. Can you see the picture I'm showing?
No, we see like the browser. So maybe point it on a tab.
Understood. Maybe I can.
I think you can drag it like as a tab.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So
25 years old. Yeah. So
you're very technical for a 25-year-old. So I took a screenshot of a web page. It can be any web page. And I asked the vibe coding tool to replicate this, but I would also wanted to add a form that integrates with Monday. And I specified what next thing I do is.
I think I want to say something about it, like for a second.
Sure.
Basically, what we do with vibe coding today is pretty much nothing. Just generate an application or a code, or maybe integrated with a very specific database. Like in real world, like enterprise, mid-sized enterprises, they have a CRM, they have an ERP. They don't want just like the skeleton or like the layout. And then, okay, what's next? I
Yeah.
need to take like an iPaaS product to connect it. I need to write the code to connect it. It's too much. So what we're trying to do like with Noca is say, okay, you don't need like multiple tools. Just give me your prompt. We know how to build the integration for you. We know how to build the layout for you, and it's working. So this is like the main like
Yeah.
difference that we're trying to do.
I think that's where vibe coding gets a bad name sometimes too. 'Cause
Yeah.
You see people building stuff and it's like, okay, you basically just built a pretty front end. What is it connecting to? And then to your point, in actual businesses, they want it to connect to the stuff they already got, which is where the data resides in a sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. I completely agree.
So this one can take 2 to 5 minutes. Maybe we can go to the different demo and then we'll
So,
get back. Yeah.
so I'll move to the I moved to the flow builder. So we're done with the web app. Now we're
So the flow builder, is it correct to say this is something you would analogize to an N8N or a Make or something like that? It's like the automation flow builder.
Never heard
in a
about
sense.
those names. Can you repeat what the names? Made?
You never heard of this, I'm sure.
No. Is it something new? Like fresh? No, never heard.
Yeah, this is the automation, integration and automation section of the program. And so you can build with drag and drop like you do in other systems. But I think the interesting part is being able to build in English. So you can just type a prompt and the system will build the integration for you.
That's interesting.
So
you're basically connecting the vibe coding approach to building out automations in a sense versus just like manually building out these connections.
Yeah. So when I ask people, how long does it take to create a customer sync between NetSuite and Salesforce? Usually I get answers between a few days or to a few weeks. And what we're seeing is that you can accomplish this in a few minutes. And
oh, wow.
So what I told...
So for those listening, talk us through the prompt and what it's doing for those listening. This is pretty neat.
Yeah, so I gave a simple prompt. I told them when a new customer record is created in NetSuite, check if there's an account in Salesforce with the same name. And if you find an account in Salesforce with the same name, send a Slack message to Avishai and already have it in Salesforce. If not, I would like to create a new account in Salesforce based on this account that was created in NetSuite. So the first thing the system does is creates the flow, the structure of the flow, but it doesn't stop there. It goes even deeper and it does the actual mapping and the fields.
Wow.
We can, if we look step by step, we can see that it understood the prompt. It understood that this flow starts when our customer is creating NetSuite. So we can see it shows the right record of customer, the right type of event. It then goes to Salesforce and reads to check if there's an account in Salesforce that has the same name as the company name that was created in NetSuite. It will then create a rule to check if it has results for the tested mail. If it does not find an account, it will send a message as requested to Avishai in Slack with a company name in NetSuite. And if not, it will create a new account in Salesforce based on that account that was created in NetSuite. So as we see, the system took the prompt I gave it. It understood the structure and it also understood the mapping, the right object, the right fields. And next step is to connect the... Go ahead.
Let me stop you right there and ask you a question too. And just for those like listening, it's cool to see he put in the prompt and you can see it visually creating the different nodes and things. But are you already logged into your, say, NetSuite account or your Slack account to where it has a sense for your instance, and like Slack, for instance, it has a sense for your channels and whatnot? Is that already... have you already connected the tools you want to connect? So when it goes through this flow, it already has a sense for your specific account. Is that accurate?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Basically, like a fresh user will not have any connection because of Avishai is like not new to the system, everything is ready. But if it's a new user, you say, hey, I need to work with your NetSuite. Please give me your authentication. Let's connect to your NetSuite.
You would connect it. Yeah.
Once connected, then what we do, we take like all the metadata, like the objects and field the tables, blah, blah, blah. We take it into a vector database. So everything is like vectorized.
So it has that context.
So we can do all the LLM magics, like we did like for the mapping, for the matching, we know which field. It's worked really nicely. And yes, if you see the wizard, like on the right side, you just say, hey, you need to connect to NetSuite, give me the connection. You need to connect to Slack, give me the connection. And then you go.
Yeah. That's a great question. So what we see users struggle with as well is going live with automation, because you need to do some work in the backend, and we use AI for that as well. So once you've done this, you've created this flow with a prompt, all you need to do for this flow to go live is just to click a button. Well, once I click go live, this automation will be live, as I said. And if we go into NetSuite now and create a new customer, this is NetSuite. And let's create a new account. We'll call it Avishai, and Matt. And save it.
Good old NetSuite. I feel like, Benny, this is back in your beginning of your career with the UI.
Mine for sure. I don't know about you guys. You guys young.
Somewhat young. And so NetSuite takes a minute.
It's still saving on the NetSuite, but I think that's
okay. So we've saved this on NetSuite. We go back to Noca, and you can see the automation here. If we go into the actual flow, we'll be able to see that this is the account that was created, Avishai and Matt. It searched for a customer, an account in Salesforce, found no Avishai and Matt, and then created a new account in Salesforce. We have the account ID and we hired all the details. And basically what we did is create a customer sync in a front in a minute. And we went live. What used to take
in this. Yeah, that is insane. What's cool about this, though, for those listening, like you almost have this, what you just went into is like a log of what happened, which I got to imagine is helpful if like you're trying to debug something or something goes awry. This kind of gives you the sense of all the things that are happening, and you can go deep into those.
Exactly.
Sense, right?
Let me take the wheel for a second, Avishai.
Go ahead.
Let's run again like another record in NetSuite, and then go fast like to Noca. Before like it's finished saving, let's see what happened, because you can see everything like in real time. So you can see it's like actually working.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's create a new
record.
This one will be Benny.
We're going rogue with the demo.
Yeah, you
we'll
will see it's like really cool. And now I'll explain like something technical. Yeah.
And okay, this is saving.
Go to Noca. Logs.
Okay, it's not yet until
it's been coming.
Once this wheels stops.
Yeah, we're just waiting for
there it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah, processing.
So
you're trying to see it happening live.
Yeah, it's happening live. Okay, so now it's like receiving, it's going to Salesforce, it's going to Logic, it's going to Salesforce. So it's like in real time. And if it's like a very big, long process, you can even pause it and say, let me see what's happening. You can even change it like in a live mode. Now, another cool stuff that we're doing is usually with automation. Let's say you try to automate something between two different systems or more. You need two different experts. Like you need an expert, like a NetSuite expert. You need like a Salesforce expert. Usually it's two different people, unless they're like super smart, like Avishai. So one more thing, it's like most of the system are not very sophisticated. They don't have like event listening. You cannot trigger like event like to extend. So what you need to do, you need a developer that write a code that listen to an event and then trigger like a third party. So with Noca, everything is built in. We're doing like with AI, a lot of stuff behind the scene. We're listening to the event. We're like deploying the code for you and you don't have to do nothing. This is like from business to production. This is what we're trying to do.
No, that's interesting. Yeah. And then the humans that you typically have, to your point, the Salesforce engineer, the NetSuite engineer, expert, or admin, you don't necessarily need.
They've never
all of
fight
that.
for you.
This.
Yeah.
Okay.
How's our vibe coding thing going?
Yeah, I see it's
Let's see
just
it.
finished. This is what is built. Let's have a quick look at what we wanted to achieve. So we gave it this picture and said we wanted it to build this, but add a form and add some more information. So let's see a preview of this. And
It's even got some slight like animation in it. That's
Oh,
kinda
I'm
cool.
sorry. It's good.
yeah,
Yes.
the outcome is nice. It looks very similar between the two. Sorry, Benny, you wanted to say something?
Say it's really fun for me to see it's working because like when you write the code like old school, okay, you know what's going to happen. When you really use like an AI, sometimes it's doing something different. So in the background, we have a lot of agents that recheck in and do like verification for the layout. If it's matched, if it's not, we can say, hey, it's not matched like 50%. Try to change, try to fix. So we like multi-agent approach that working on the system. And but we're like, I'm very excited to see that it's working. So I'm really enjoying it.
And
And there is no one like behind the scene, like other company that you read like in the news that raise a lot of money, start with build something and then
Yeah.
dot something.
Well,
No one behind
public
the scene. We
knowledge,
don't
like
have
we
that
can
money to pay for so many people. It's just Avishai, Benny, and Amy behind the scene. We're doing all the magics.
that is an interesting case, and just for reference, it's public information. There's a tool out there that they were using essentially 700 humans behind the scenes that were
Human
like
in the
coding
loop.
and pretending to
They
be
took the loop
AI.
like too
Human in the
seriously.
loop to the extreme. Yes, yes, that was. And this even has the navigation up at the top. So if you scroll down, does it have the
Let's see
form?
what happened. We don't know what's happened. But
so AI built this whole thing.
That's cool.
And let's see.
That actually looks really
And
good,
here's the
too.
form I
This
asked
is the
for.
form.
Let me pull up Monday. So this is my Monday account. I asked it to update this
Yeah.
board. So this is the system I'm using. I want to capture information in Monday based on this.
can you slow down so I can fake the data entry and then we can see it working?
You're moving too
I'll
fast for
put my
Benny.
hand like this, so it's working. Okay.
I'll have Matt give me the name so we can try this live.
A random name, like just choose like a word. This
Yeah, let me
letter.
pick something.
D.
Let's do
Bob.
Bob. We'll do Bob the
Um,
Builder, since we're
Builder.
talking about
with-
referencing
no pun
I'll give the
intended.
company. Each and everyone will give like a different parts. Like, let's do a builder, real builder IO.
Real.
Yeah, there you go.
Builder.
Real.
Email is bob at builder.io and phone number, random number.
Okay.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, not my phone. And I think
You can
I want
try.
to show another something here is that the system even integrated validations into the form, even though I didn't ask. It says you must have at least 2 characters in a full name. You can't have just like 1 letter. So that's, I think that's,
It's even deeper. It will look at the backend validation system. So for example, like if you have a mandatory field or like a business rule, it will verify before you submit. So for example, let's say if you have a business rule on the Monday side, say, hey, the board cannot contain ABC, then it will try to put ABC to say, hey, stop. This is not matched. So it's not going to fail.
yeah. So let's run this.
Let me type quickly. Oh, okay.
API temporarily blocked. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey.
Maybe your Monday API is blocked,
Maybe.
but this is fine.
Which this is a normal occurrence when you're vibe coding something, right? Especially after a single shot, you'll run into stuff. And this is where you could pass in the error you're getting into the tool, I'm assuming. Or the other thing a lot of people don't realize, pull up your console logs as well, because that's just context for the LLM to then figure out, okay, how do I fix
for sure.
this?
Yep.
Okay. So I think that's it for the demo. Any questions?
No, this is really cool. So I think I'd be curious, like you have the vibe coding tool and the flow tool. Do those pair together in a sense in the future? Is that coming, or is that kind of already there?
It's
'Cause
already there.
I could see a future where it's like I vibe code the front end and it interacts with this flow I built in the flow builder. Is that kind of the idea? Yeah.
Exactly. This is actually what it's doing. It's like basically whenever you need an interact, let's say a button, then submit, save, pull or like push data, everything is like on the flow system. And then like you just call the flow system. So both of them like working together like nicely.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle because what I see a lot of people doing is they'll build something in N8N, Nathan, whatever you want to call
I
it, and then
never
they'll
heard
go
of,
over to
yeah.
Lovable. They'll build the front end, and then they'll have to connect it to the system. So you're having to
Pay
like
to two
cobble
different
together
vendors, learn two
multiple
different
things. Yeah,
systems. Yeah, two different support
exactly.
systems, two different language, and then, hey, it's not working. You cannot do this. You cannot do this.
Yeah. Cool. That was awesome. And for those that were just listening, highly recommend you go check it out on the YouTube side of things. But where can people find you guys, find out more about Noca?
You can just go to Noca, NOCA.ai, and find us like LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook.
Nice. Cool. Awesome, guys. Thanks for being on the Talking AI podcast and talking some AI. Thanks for listening to the Talking AI podcast. If you enjoyed the show, give us a follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to leave us a review. We love those. For more info on Talking AI, visit talkingaipodcast.com.